And it's with great pleasure. This is something that I look forward to with every conference, is finding out what the new roses are going to be this coming year. And that's what we're going to hear right now from Christian Bedard and Ping Lim. So if you'll come up.
Hey, welcome first to this presentation. Ping and I were looking forward to show you a little bit of our new roses coming out. We thought that we're going to start with something more general, introducing you to how we create roses. So a little bit of what we're looking for in the breeding, and then right after we explain you a little bit of some of the quality and characteristic we're looking for rose, then we're going to show you some of the new one, and we're going to try to point out what is good about them. And for those of you who have only or listening to my talk for the first time, you'll see that I'm not someone that tries to sell you roses. I will say negative things about them. I'll say I don't like this, I don't like this, I don't like this. So don't be surprised if my own roses, I say I don't like that, I don't like that. Because then that means hopefully 10 years from now I'll have a better one that will come out and that will fix those characteristics that I don't like about them.
Okay, my turn. First of all, I want to say thank you. Thank you for another opportunity to come over here. This is my second or third time. I don't remember, but just like coming home. And you cannot hear.
Let's go closer.
You get too close.
How's that?
Okay.
We only have one microphone. That's the problem.
Yeah. I want to say is. About a year ago, I received a phone call from Florence, and she said, "Ping, can you come over, have a talk?" I said, "I cannot wait for you to call me. I really want to come back here." You know, there is a few reasons that I really want to come up here. First reason, I have a chance to put the tie on. Because for the nursery people, putting the tie is look like a lifetime challenge. I not even know how to tie. I bring my wife with me so she can help. So the second thing is because all my family born in Northern California, in Livermore, and they are still live in California, in Stanford. So we have a chance to visit our daughter. So that's the second thank you. And I still have brother, my family, still in San Francisco. That's the third thank you. The fourth thank you is the most of all, to see all of you. It's really a pleasure. Thank you.
Well, so honestly, we didn't know we're going to have to share a microphone like this, so we might have some challenge. We have to move around, but the first section of the presentation, if it seems to be disorganized, it's totally disorganized. We're going to improvise the first 30 minutes. We're just going to talk about breeding.
I don't know who have the idea to put us together like this. You know, first of all, they don't know we are really the competitor and enemy.
Yeah.
We have a friend like this who need another enemy, right? But however, I know Chris since 2000, 14 years ago. I see him grow up really. And when I met him with Tom in Upton Wick's research, I see this guy is our future. That will be our future. The road will depend on you.
Thank you, Tom.
Well, another good thing come over here because last week I was in Beaver Hill Rose Society. They have the banquet at Queen Mary. It's pretty fancy and nice. But the problem is, when I run into my friend, I thought it's my friend. I said, "Hi, Henley." And Henley said, "I remember your face. I don't remember your name." But when I come over here, a lot of people say, "Ping, ping, ping." That feels so good. And Henley, he's a doctor, and he told me, "Ping, don't worry. I don't remember your name. Actually, is very common because I'm 81 years old." Okay, he's a doctor from Wisconsin. And he said, generally, when the people aging, there is a three things forget. One is forget your name, very common. Secondly, forget your face. He said, "I didn't forget your face." And then how about number three? He said, number three, forget to zip up. but I try to comfort him because he's 81. I said, I have a story. I think you are not really that bad, because a lot of rose people make friends for life. So there is a two guys, one named Peter, the other named Bob, and they love Rose so much. They even marry the lady named Rose. Okay, one thing, when they get aging, they get Alzheimer, and he forget so much, but he didn't forget, Bob didn't forget Peter. Okay, and then one day they get together, and Peter surprised, you didn't forget me. How you, normally Alzheimer, they keep forgetting very easy like this. How you do that? He said, I go to school. I pick up my memory right now, so good. And then Peter said, how you do that? He said, well, I know. Do you know what is the flower with the thorn? The Peter said, yes, obvious, I know. That's roses. And he yelled, roses, what is that school I go for? So Handy feel pretty good. So he's not in that position.
Well, you want to...
No, you go now.
Oh, okay. Okay, so as you probably know, we both doing breeding. Ping is doing for Altman plants in close to San Diego, and I'm doing the breeding for Weeks Roses in Pomona. So, like I mentioned, we thought the first few minutes we're going to just explain you a little bit how we do the breeding and what we're looking for into the new selection. Everything starts with a concept. You know, you have to think what you want to improve and what's already available and what work can you do on those varieties to make them better. So I would say the first step is putting the breeding plan together on paper. At least that's what we do at Weeks. Ping can explain you what we do, what he does. Both are roses are hermaphrodite, so they have both sex. So then you have to decide, okay, are you going to use that one as a male or as a female or both ways? Because some of them works both ways, some of them work only as female, and some of them only work as male. So in a cross, if you are using, let's put an example. If you're using John F. Kennedy, the rose John F. Kennedy, and you cross it with Marilyn Monroe. Okay, no, look in the catalog. Those are actual two roses, okay? We're talking rose breeding right now, okay? So if let's say you want to make a cross using John F. Kennedy and Marilyn Monroe, in that specific cross, you're going to have to use Marilyn Monroe as a male because she's a terrible mom. She won't set seeds. And John F. Kennedy, unfortunately, because of the fact Marilyn Monroe is only a good dad, has to be a female in the cross. So that's one of the first things we determine, because like as you could see here, and I'm going to try to point it out, but you have the anthers outside the flower, and in the center you have the style. So you could see they have the both sex. So I'll give you another example. Doris Day, extremely good mama. Extremely good mama. Sets a lot of fruit. They won't germinate. The seeds will not germinate. So sometimes you get excited, you get a lot of seed production, but then you have zero germination. So those, and in that case again, Doris Day only used as a male. Cannot be used as a female. So you want to go in?
Well, Chris, you really want to tell all the people, all the smart people about the secret of breeding? We are going to have a lot of competition in the future.
Yeah, well, we're not going to share the magic potion we're using, you know. We're just going to give basic.
Okay. However, there is a few things if you want to be a rose breeder that you have to take. You have to take it. That, for instance, you have to have an iron heart. You know, some rose really good for making the cross, and you successfully, like what he just said, a lot of seed but zero germination, and some of the rose looks ugly, and you not really want to see their descendant, but there is plenty of germination. Yeah. So that happened. So Chris just pointed out some variety is sterile. No matter how you do it, it not set seed. Some variety very easy to set seed, but not really easy to germinate. So that is, we have the same thinking.
And often, the one that produced the most seed, the one that produced the best pollen, will be the lousiest parent. All the kid will be ugly. And I am not kidding. You'll have a population of 1,000 seeds, and you look at them and say, why I did that cross? They all look bad. And the one you're going to have 5 seeds, that you're going to have 3 that will come up, those 3 are good. I mean, it's not always like that, but often it just seems that the most fertile parents are the ones that just give you the worst kids. And we do the same thing as far as eliminating the seedling, you know. Every morning we go through the seedling benches and we look at them. And I think we do about 250,000 seeds just to make things simple. 50% germination. Okay, I know germination is more than 50%, but that's still 100,000 new seedlings that you look at every year. And at the end, knowing the whole process, we're going to keep 5 or 6. So normally I have my clippers, and I use, from 2003 to 2013, I used the same pair of clippers. And I retired them in 2013 because the blade, there was a gap about 1/4 of an inch. They were so used, I could not close them. There was still a gap. So again, if you do the math,
He's the killer.
I kill fast. You know, think about it. You have 100,000 seedling. You don't have time to look at it. Oh, is it good? Is it okay? I'm not sure. It's like fraction of a second. I'm guessing on average 5 to less than 10 seconds per seedling, and you just take them out of bed.
Before you doing that, do you check their parent, who is the father and mother?
I do on shrubs. I don't do on hybrid tea. Okay. On HTs, hybrid teas, minis, and florey, I know that they don't have the genes of disease resistance, most of them. So if they don't have the nice flower, then, and especially if they have powdery mildew or other disease in the greenhouse, it goes real fast.
I do a little bit different. I look at the parent first. If I want to chop that one out, because our breeding, not necessary to breed for the good rose, also breed for the breeding. Sometimes we need to get some variety from the F1, F2, F3 going on. So study the parents will help to long-term the breeding project. That is the main reason that we have to keep the record of the parent. That is the main thing that the rose breeders specialize on, keep track of the parent. And that is the secret of our breeding.
Yeah. Well, actually, I didn't answer your question right. Then yes, I do look at parents, but if they are Floribunda or Grandie, and if there's no good parent in the background and they don't, I don't keep them for bloodline. Yeah, you're right. But if there are some good parents, then I will consider them to keep them for, like you said, like future breeding lines.
Well, I don't know. I have a pretty good story about this descendant. Many people might heard, I said before, Einstein's story. How many people heard about Einstein's story? Yeah? Okay. Some people have heard about, some people don't. Let me repeat. Einstein is the most intelligent people in the world for man. And then one day, one Miss Universe, she's very pretty. She approached Mr. Einstein, said, we get married. Our descendant will be the most beautiful, the most intelligent. And Mr. Einstein said, well, if you pass the test, we get married. And I believe that's true. And he gave that Miss Universe a test. I give you 1 week of time. Go home and study what is the capital of the 50 United States. The lady said, piece of cake. I do that in 2 days. After a week, and Einstein still give her a week to study, come back. He said, Mr. Einstein, we can marry now. I know all the 50 states, the capital of all 50 states. Mr. Einstein asked, what is the capital of New Mexico? Anybody know? N.M. And Mr. Einstein said, how can we get married? If we get married, our kid will be ugly like me, dumb like you. Okay, now.
Okay. Well, I'll just finish my story on the clippers. See, I didn't get a chance to finish those. So I got those clippers and I retired them in 2013. And I said, what am I going to do with those? Because 2003, 2013, so I did the math. I say, hey, those have killed, if you do 100,000 seedling plus per year, I mean, those have killed 1 million rose baby, you know? So I just thought, well, they belong to something. I don't know what to do with them. I just don't want to, because they're no good. So I kept them. I put Christian on one of the handle, and I put 2003, 2013. And when I give talk in Southern California, sometimes I have my clippers on the side, and I pass them around. I say, 1 million rose baby kill. Think about it.
The killer.
The killer, yeah. Something about breeding that I hope you know is, how many here will work on a project and see the result in 10 years? How many can raise their hand and say, I'm patient enough to wait 10 years to work on a project? There's very few hands, but that's what we do. When we make the first cross, and you know, something you do a website, whatever, I don't know how long it takes, but a week, 5 weeks, a month, you build a website. If you build a house, a few months after the house will be built. We wait 10 years. From the time we make the cross all the way to the introduction. It's a long time.
I think because you have a good boss. The good boss will pay for you 10 years.
But the good thing also is, when you retired, you have 10 years more of your seedling coming out. So like when I started at weeks, it took me 8 years because we went a little faster. I was tired of waiting. So we did coffee bean after 8 years. But then also 10 years after I'm retired, or 8 years, I should have some of my seedlings that are still coming out of the market. So you've been patient at the beginning, but then you get some result at the end also.
What he means is, after 11 years, you have a seedling every year.
Because you accumulated seedlings, and now you're coming out every year with some new ones. So, hey, believe it or not, we're still at the first slide. Oh, second, wow, woo, we did better, good.
I cannot wait.
Okay, so this is, like I said, in the morning, what we do is every morning with a knife, we emasculate the flower, remove the anthers. We do that before the flower opens. We want to make sure it doesn't self-pollinate, because we want to make a cross of John F. Kennedy with Marilyn Monroe. So we want to make sure John F. Kennedy doesn't self-pollinate. So we will, well, I'm just going to go back here for a sec. You see the guy here has a handful of anthers. And as he cut the filaments of the anthers, he collects them in his hand, and then...
Whose hand is this?
That's Raymond, he works 40 years at Weeks Roses, and he's still there. He's 66, and he's still making crosses, and he's still helping us.
So if you want to work in the rose, you look at this.
Yeah. It's not, sometimes I come home, honestly, I got scratches everywhere, and I take a shower, in the morning it just burn. I got blood sometimes coming down, but hey, that's part of the deal.
My wife becomes surgeon. Every day I go home, she has to take out the thorn.
Right now I have 2 thorns still in my finger that have not come out, so I don't know.
I still have one in here.
and normally we are on average probably 5 or 10 per hand, you know. Okay, so since you want to make the crosses, you have to make sure you keep the parents separated. So like 59, again, we're not going to write on the cross John F. Kennedy times Marilyn Monroe. It's just way too long. So Marilyn Monroe is 59. So every time you're going to emasculate the flower from Marilyn Monroe, you're going to keep the anther separated, and you let them dry for 24 hours. What happens is the anther will crack and release the pollen. And the pollen is the male part you're going to use on the flower. You want to do this, the next one?
Okay, you said.
Okay.
Okay. When we make the cross, actually we keep the pollen about a week. I don't know you do.
We refresh ours every day.
Yeah.
We try to, because there's a curve. You could see like the viability of the pollen, depending on the temperature and the humidity, it goes down pretty fast. So we refresh ours every day, every 2 days. But after a week, we do dump everything.
That's pretty interesting, because when you make the plant for the cross, sometimes you have the father, the mother's ready, but the father's not ready. The pollen is not available. So sometimes you have to wait for a few days when the flower is available, when we put it in. When the flower is already, but the pollen, if you throw away, you cannot make the cross. So that is what I asked, if you can keep. And sometimes we only have parent. We only keep. I think the most female parent I have is 10 to 20 plants, and in general about 4 plants per cross. I don't know how many you have.
We do about 5 pot on the female, sometimes 10 if it's really a good variety, and then we're going to use 6 different males for 5 pot and up to 12 on 10 pots.
How many parents?
That'd be a combo of that's basically 12 crosses. It'll be 6 crosses per 5 pots.
How many total parents?
Oh, about 150 different parents.
I have about 300 parents. So I make about 2,000 combinations.
Yeah, we do more like 900.
Yeah.
We do larger population. So when you do something bad, you get more of it. So it's good, you know. Yeah. So basically, after the flower is emasculated, you see the paintbrush full of a fine orange dust. I don't know if you could see on the pointer. There's like a nice fine dust that came from here. That's the pollen grain. So think about it. The first slide that we showed that with a knife we went around and emasculate the anther, remove the anthers. And then we always leave a few petals so the workers in the greenhouse know that flower is not pollinated. So the next day they come in with the paintbrush, and like I said, we have breeding cards that tell them this one we want to cross with 54, 59, 100. So they come in, they pull the cards right in front of the 5 pots, and they look at the breeding program and say, okay, Christian said let's use 54 on that one. So they will go and grab the jar for 54 and make the cross. This process, we do about 45 to 50,000 flower per year.
How much per day, per person?
We broke over 3,500.
No, per person.
No, not per person, per day. Some of the best day we do about 3,500 pollination. But on average, it's probably 1,000, 1,500. We do breeding from late April all the way to the end of July, and then we call it quit.
How do you get the pollen again coming out?
We have pollen pans outside that we only use for pollen.
And then how's this powder pollen again? Where do you get this?
We get it from the anthers.
Yeah, how is it coming out?
Well, like I say, every day or every 2 days we collect from outside, the ones that are male only, but also when we do the plants that are inside, we keep the anthers. You saw the guy was emasculating the flower, so we keep the anthers and then we use those also. So we have like a double source of pollen coming in.
Do you smash it or you shake it for the pollen to come out?
Yeah, this is not the way we use it. We don't use it in petri dishes. We use like a little pot.
See, now the two coming.
Yeah. I actually normally I have a slide, but to keep things simple, I thought not to show that slide because see we're already 30 minutes in and we're slide number 3. So good thing I didn't put that extra slide. So just go back maybe, Ping, for the last one. So if everything goes well after your pollination is done, the base of the flower receptacle. So if you look on, you have the petals, you have the sepals, and underneath you have the flower receptacle. Will enlarge about 2-3 weeks. You're going to see that coming, a nice hip forming. And then, if everything goes well, I mean, this is an exception that you see the seeds coming out, but the hips will turn orange in late August, September, and then it'll be time to harvest them. And you could see still the hanging tag is there that shows the cross you made on it. So you want to make sure when you make the cross, everything is kept separated. You keep good record on everything, because at the end, we always have unknown by unknown section, some hips that fell on the ground, some seed that we found, and then we put them all unknown by unknown. But this is not the way to go forward with the breeding program, not knowing what your parents are.
How do you know it's right to harvest, the right time to harvest?
You know, we wait till either they're fully orange or the sepals are falling. If we are at the end of September, early October, and they don't do either, well, we'll just still take them, because I know, and that's something that's when you have to manage your time. I know it'll take 2-3 weeks for my employee to pick all the hips, then it'll take them 2-3 weeks to do the seed extraction. And I know I want to plant on January 5th. So then I go back on the calendar, I say, okay, this is the day we harvest everything. So we go through two small harvests. We just, like from late August, we're going to go one round, everything that's ready, fully orange, we're going to pick. So that's released some pressure also on the plant, so you could put some energy to turn the other one orange. And then we're going to do another harvest, maybe mid-September, again, pick all the ones already. And then by late September, early October, we're just going to cut everything, and then that's when we start extracting the seeds. Obviously, I didn't show you the seed extraction. Ping will say it's another secret I didn't put on. But we do everything with a blender. Actually, it's not even a secret. If you go on the Weeks website, you'll see how to create roses. There's a slideshow. And I don't know if ever you have tried to open a hips, open it, start taking seeds. There's like a fine air that's really hitchy. And it takes forever to open the hips and extract all those seeds. Think about 250 seeds. No way we do that by hand. So we have a blender. And we dull the blade. We take all the hips. Again, after everything is done, John F. Kennedy, Marin Monroe, one family, they will stay together all the way till planting. And then John F. Kennedy with Doris Day will be another family. And all of them will stay together as family. So when we do the blender part, we take the whole family of hips and we throw it in the blender, 1 minute, 30 seconds. That's the secret. That's precisely 1 minute, 30 seconds. We get the timer, tick, 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 and then we get...
You said it is a fast speed or...
Yeah. Now he wants the secret, huh? and then we got screen. We got 3 different sizes of screen. So we pour the slurry on the screen, we wash them, and then we get the seed. And that's when, what the employee like to say, they do a burrito. So they take all those seeds, they put them in a moist paper towel, and they roll it like a burrito, fold it, put it in a Ziploc bag, and it goes in a cold storage for 2 months. As you know, we're in Southern California, Ping as well, we don't have winter. So they need that cold treatment to germinate well. So that's why we have a huge refrigerator, probably half the size of this block here. And we just store all those seeds there. And that's the bag that you could see after the processing is done. So you see the burrito there going in the Ziploc bag, and across the female and the male is on the bag, and it goes in the refrigerator. And so then that's the stratification section part. Then it's time for planting. We coat everything with a fungicide. I'm not going to tell you which one.
Bedard.
We use actually one that's out of the market.
Oh.
Yeah. And
USAID approved?
yeah, it was back then. And we coat everything, we coat our seeds with a fungicide, and then one by one, those are 250,000 seeds are planted. You see the guys here, he's got one seed here, one seed there, one seed there, here, all about a square, 1 inch apart. It takes, again, I know my math, I know everything is done. I know it'll take them 2.5 weeks to 3 weeks to plant 200 to 250 seeds. I know from years and years we kept record. So if everything goes well, you get the baby. And the first, when you're done planting the seed, don't ask me why, every year, the employee will go, we use a sand just to protect a little bit from the moist, the algae, control some of the algae. And the employee will, with their finger, they're going to make a little circle around the first baby coming out. After 10, I don't know why, they stop doing it, you know. And then when we get to 50, 100, 200, then forget it. But the first baby of the year, they always come up. There's a little circle with a finger. Everybody's happy about the first baby. You want to add something? No? So this is very likely a reject. This is back when we were in Upland. I think Ping's doing something similar. We plant all those seeds in beds. And this, I would say, is very poor germination. We have increased our germination so much in the last few years that some family, I'm not kidding, they're green, solid green. You don't even see the sand. So that's when, see, not much air. You start pulling them. It's like too many. You know, when they all start blooming, they all, imagine they're all an inch apart and they're all in bloom. And then you have a family of 1,000 and they all flower. It's like, oh, you could spend an hour just in front of that family starting to pull them. It just takes for forever. So if we do our job right, hopefully we do once in a while, then that's what we get. And we get and I say that often. I'm sure if you are into music, you record a CD, your reward is to hear your song on radio, you know? I mean, my reward personally, and probably Ping will say the same thing, is when I walk around and I see someone that planted my rose in their garden. It makes me happy, you know? It's just like someone liked that one. He went to the nursery, selected that one, not the one that was next to it, selected that one and planted in his garden.
Special when the people said, you're a world-renowned rose breeder. When your rose that grow in the North Pole, in Moscow, Russia, China, that is a charm.
Yeah. And like Ping just said, is we advertise here in the U.S., but it's amazing. I mean, I got a rose introduced in France. I got a rose introduced in New Zealand, in Australia, in Japan, and just like, wow, you know, I never thought about it. When you saw the little baby in the greenhouse, when you saw it for the first time, you always hope, just like any parents, you hope for your kid to be a doctor, you hope for your kid to be president, whatever you hope for your kid, you know? You always hope something good for your kid, but doesn't mean he will reach that level, but that's the same thing for our kids. We always hope, hey, if he could make it to the market, it's already good.
You talk too much.
Oh yeah, do it. We need to go.
I have to punch the table. That's my turn.
Okay, you go. Go ahead, Ping.
Well, about 3-4 years ago that I got a call from Russia, from Moscow. They don't believe that American breeder can breed rose, can torrent to Moscow, can grow well without winter protection. And after the testing, my rose actually is from Finland, from Sweden, from Norway. They find that American rose also can grow well in the northern pool, in the North Pole. So he write me and then he want to interview me. So I have 3 articles written in Russia, talk about our rose bred in America can grow in the northern Europe, Russia. And then they call American Beauty from Ping Lim.
And I've seen a lot of Ping's rose in the north. They're doing very well, and that's...
That is the problem. You know, not so many people in California know rose that breed by Ping because we don't have really a good promotion like Wicks that promote heavily in California. And California is one of the largest rose consumer in the United States. It considered state, maybe the world.
Yeah. I mean,
but within our rose that Easy Arrogant not really promote in California at all. So I don't mind if you don't know me.
it's still today about 1/3 of our business as Weeks Roses. It's still California.
Yeah.
It's hard to believe, but one state is about 1/3 of the business.
Now I come to California. You worry about that?
No. Okay, so this is the end result when they're right before going to introduction. And that's a field of Sugar Moon. And that was about 7,000 or 8,000 plants. And then the year after, it went to the market. That's this to me, and likely to Ping, that's when you see your little kid at that level. You say, wow. I mean, it's either you look good, or you say, wow, why did I bud it that high? You know, why did I prop it so many? You know? You're gonna check.
You go ahead.
Okay.
Use 2 hours.
No, I don't want to. Now, someone please check. I want to leave Ping a good 45 minutes, an hour to. So I'm going to go through some of the new Weeks roses. This is Good as Gold, hybrid tea. I was down yesterday at the San Jose garden, and you know, rose will perform different. If you look at Southern California, Northern California, or even Texas, or wherever you're going to go, you're going to have different opinion about the roses. That's why we do testing in many climates. Again, I told you I'm going to say things I don't like about my roses. And this one is from Tom. Having a color like that, it's like similar to gold medal. If you know gold medal, it will fade. That's the same thing, you know. Those are colors that are really intense and they're hard to hold. It's very difficult to hold the color all the way till the end. But everything else on the plant is good. Like it's a true hybrid tea, large flower, 1 flower per stem, good bush, very upright and vigorous. Oops, I think I skipped. Okay, we tried to work on some English style roses a little bit, but plant that don't reach 8 feet tall, something that's a little shorter. So this is happy-go-lucky. You could see the kind of English style flower. It will bloom mostly, it's a grandiflora, mostly in 2-3 flowers per stem. Really nice fruity fragrance and good disease resistance. And that's something you'll hear me saying later. This one will get downy. This one will get this. This one is very clean. I mean, I would say rust, powdery mildew, and downy was very clean when we did the trialing.
This one also.
Moderate or strong fragrance?
Excuse me?
Would you consider it moderate or strong?
Okay.
Fragrance.
To me, Pope Jean Paul, Double the Light, try to think, Neil Diamond, those are like outstanding fragrance. I would say this is really good. It's still strong, but it's not as good as the top. But I would say moderate plus. Yeah. You go ahead, Ping.
This also bloomed very early. It's early bloomer.
Yeah, and we do try to have plant that repeats, produce a lot of flower, and you all heard about self-cleaning, you know, that the petals when they're done, they're falling, so it doesn't look messy on the plant. So that's some of the things we're looking in the breeding.
Is this something you would put on a standard?
It's too big. Yeah, too big to go on the standard. I mean, the plant, like I say, is easily 5 feet tall, and it's 3 feet wide, so it's a big bush. And we're looking, like I say, we're looking for vigor. We're looking for garden rose. Something to go on the tree or on a standard, you're looking for something more compact. This is Coretta Scott King, another grandee with really nice pointy bud. For those of you who like to cut flower in the garden, bring them in the house. That's one that will work very well. Fairly good disease resistance. What I think was novel is a lot of the ones that are blushing, they don't blush with a coral orange. This one is not a pink. See, a lot of the blush, normally it's more like a pink. This one is definitely more an orange. Not much fragrance, but very good vigor, upright, and really nice buds. You tell me if it's going to show on the table. I don't know. I'm just saying the buds are looking good on the plant. That was one of Tom that won the AOE in 2014. That's You're the One. And probably one of the main reason why he won AOE is because all the buds are all perfect little flower. So that's a miniature. I would call it a miniature hybrid tea because it's mostly 1 flower per stem, but it has that beautiful bud on top of the plant. And our miniature are big miniature. We don't have a 6-inch plant. We do for 1.5 feet or 2 feet rounded plant because we are in the field business, so we're growing plant in the ground. So when we dig them, we want to make sure we have enough branches and strong plants so we could bundle them together. So a 6-inch tall plant, we cannot bundle that because the 2 strings that we put are about that 6 or 8 inch apart. So we need a big plant to be able to produce it. I would say, again, I think it's a very good mini. Once in a while, I'll get a little bit of powdery mildew on the very tip of the top foliage. But other than that, it's a pretty good mini.
Is it on its own roots or is it budded?
It's all on root, yeah. The shrub, the mini, and we do some climber and some floribunda on root. But this is definitely on root. This is Jump for Joy, and I'll tell you a quick story. Since I'm in Northern California, there's more hockey fan here than Southern California, I'm sure. Who knows what is a hat trick on hockey? Good, a little bit, okay. So this is what I call my hat trick, and maybe Ping can comment after that. You know, I told you about the family, that you have a male and a female in a family, and very likely no kid will make it. But when three selection makes it from one family, that's what I call a hat trick. It doesn't happen very often. It's like Tom did for about 30 years breeding. He had one hat trick with Heptide, Midnight Blue, and Route 66. If you look in the catalog, they have exact same parents, the same mom and the same dad. That's what I call a hat trick. Same mom, same dad, same year. So this is actually one of, maybe my only one ever hat trick. Sparkle and Shine, Jump for Joy, and Doris Day. When you look at the parentage, exact same parentage, exact same family, and so again, it will maybe never happen again, but they're sister seedling. The difference is this one is the peachy salmon version. Floribunda means cluster, rounded habit on average, produce a lot of flower, and well, you could see the parentage in the bottom, Julie Newmar by Julie Child. And all the sisters have that kind of English style a little bit of rose, round and very nice flower. This is our new, I think we're in 2015 now, this is our new shrub. We're going to call it Take It Easy. It's a seedling of double knockout, so you could expect very good disease resistance, and actually this is one of the characteristic of that rose. The good thing is it has Floribunda shaped bud, and it opened to a nice size flower also. Petal age can go down in the heat. Again, I'm going to tell you a few things that I don't like. I wish I was holding a little better this petal age, but spring and fall, beautiful, a lot of cluster, very upright plant, but extremely clean, very disease resistant. And the red, the picture here doesn't show the color, but it's a true red, non-fading. We don't want a red that goes blue, we don't want a red that goes pink, we want a red that will hold the red all the way till it fades and drops. Brand new climber from Chris Warner in England, and as often when you go up north, climbers don't climb. But this one will definitely will climb. And one thing we're looking at climbers, how much fall rebloom is it going to have? We want the spring, the summer, and the fall rebloom. Obviously the spring will be more flower, but if it doesn't rebloom much in the fall, forget it. We're not going to introduce it. So any new intro that we did over the last 5-6 years at Weeks, we're all showing really good fall rebloom. Very disease resistant, good downy, extremely vigorous. I'm not kidding. It will reach 6-8 feet tall by 6 to 8 feet wide in 3 years. I mean, if you don't like your neighbor, you want to cover up the fence and don't see it, you put that on the fence. It's very vigorous, and it has very nice orangey apricot flower.
Chris Warner was one of the rose breeder in UK, and he specialized. He was a teacher, high school sport teacher, and he learning climber, and he do a lot of climbing breeding. This one is one of his success.
Thank you. It has some, but again, to me, there's like extremely fragrant, and there's some fragrance, and there's no fragrant. I would say there's some.
In general, Westerland produce good fragrance seedling.
Okay, we talked about Doris Day being the sister of Sparkle and Shine and Jump for Joy. Floribunda with really nice rounded habit. I think you could see the amount of flower it produces. Big flower. I mean, the flower to me are the size of a Grandy, but it still will produce them in large cluster, strong to really good fruity fragrance. And I don't know if you could see, that's the faded color right there, and that's the start. So hold this color very well, and that's in Southern California. So really good color retention.
How would you compare it to Sparkle and Shine?
For you up here, Sparkle and Shine is more disease resistant to Downy. So to do a true comparison, Sparkle and Shine has smaller flower, still probably bigger cluster, but definitely better Downy resistant. The Doris Day, larger flower, but if you buy the coast, you will have to spray because the Downy will get it. If you're inland, Don't worry about it.
What about fragrance?
They both fragrance. Actually, Sparkle and Shine has more like the Julia Child fragrance, more like the anise licorice, and Doris Day has the fruity fragrance. This is personally my new favorite rose in Southern California. And again, I have the choice. I could cut, I could grow whatever I want. I have thousands of seedlings, but every time in this summer, when I cut flower to bring home to my girlfriend, that was that one. The whole summer, I brought vases and vases and vases. This is so fragrant. And each flower, this is Neil Diamond. Each flower, and like I said, I rank like different on the fragrance. This is top fragrance. So nice, sweet rose fragrance. Flowers are big. Each flower is different. Some are more red, some are more white, but all of them are a real beauty. Long stem, cut them, put in a vase, enjoy it, and they last long in the vase, 5-6 days easy. The plant is a hybrid tea, so true hybrid tea, upright, vigorous, 6 feet tall in Southern California, so maybe a little shorter here. But again, same thing, if you buy the coast, a little bit of downy mildew. So if you're inland, no problem, by the coast, you will get some downy mildew. You know, I need to apply for the patent. I didn't count them yet. It's over 60. It's like a lot of petals. A lot of petals. Yeah. I'll go back. So you got Della Reese and Rock and Roll.
Will it open up on the coast?
It will open, yeah.
Many petals?
Yeah, well, I've seen it in San Jose. I've seen it on the coast. It does open, but there's some defoliation.
But San Jose is hot
It's warmer?
when it's cool.
Okay. I've not seen it coast. So everywhere I've seen it, they open fine. So that's the only thing I could say, yeah. Chris Warner, like Ping was saying, he was the first one that played with mini climbers. This is Top of the World, which is a mini climber we came up with. It's kind of a ketchup and mustard version, except it's orange. Mini climber, mini size flower, big cluster. And this, whoops, I did something wrong again.
Stop it.
Okay, back. Okay, sorry. The picture in the back is a picture from a plant taken in Southern California. You could see the amount of bloom it produced, and it's just covered itself with flower, and it does bloom well in the fall. Every little flower has the really nice pointy buds and blooms a nice cluster, but also mini climber means shorter final habit. So instead of being 8 feet tall by 6-8 feet wide, it'll be more like 5 or 6 by 4 or 5. So if you have a smaller space that you need, that will work pretty well.
Chris, this picture taken from the top.
We took from the side, actually.
Wow.
Taken from the side.
Everybody should notice. Normally the flower.
Tim, you really have to get out, please. Thank you.
I just asked this picture take out from the top view or from the side, and Chris said from the side. If in that case, everybody should know that the flower, in general, they heavily bloom in the top because the top dominant, and on the side and the bottom had less. But this one, very even. This is a good rose.
Thank you, Ping. Okay, I think this is my last one. I want to make sure. Okay. Any fan of Downtown Abbey here? Yeah, I got a few hands. Okay, so we just started a new collection, the Downtown Abbey Rose. This is the first one called Anna's Promise. We have another one coming for next year. So far, it's been a really good promotion. People love it. We're always going to pick something that's related to the character. So it's a grandiflora. Something I want to mention about that one specifically, you see the parent about face? That cross was done and was ready. That rose was ready for introduction in 2006, 2 years after About Face was introduced. But the salesman, we got 7,000 or 8,000 plants in the field, sat down in the room, salesman say, well, it's a little close from About Face, the color. So we decided to delay it introduction. So now we're coming out at 2015 and finally introducing it. So if you like About Face, to me this is a better plant because it's a shorter mature a bit. You see about face here will reach 6 feet tall plus, if not 7. This one will be more like a 5 with a large flower. You have the same gold and brown reverse color. And there are 2 or 3 flowers per stem, large foliage, dark foliage, so and good vigor. It's got some fruity fragrance also, which if that's of interest. And
How did you select it as a grandiflora? What were the critiques to put it in that class of grandiflora?
we play around classification a little bit, sometimes bean breeder, to be honest. Sometimes this one, I would say it's a true grandiflora because the flower size is more of a flower size of a grandiflora and the fact that it's clustering. So in this case, we didn't play with the classification. But some other cases, let's say we have a grandie, but we need a hybrid tea for the catalog, then we're going to push it to the HT and sometimes the other way around. But this one, I would say it's a true grandiflora for the flower size, the habit, and the clustering. So I think I'm gonna let Ping do his presentation, and we're gonna do a question. We're gonna let you ask question after, but.
Okay, my turn. Chris, good job. Timing is very good. You didn't take up my time. So I will leave a few minutes for question and answer. I try to do my best. Sometimes I cannot stop speaking. Just stop me. And okay, we all learned from Chris this morning about how to breed roses. Now is the test. So if we have a red rose and a white rose to make the cross, what color you expect? Everything. Whoa, is it? How about pink? I would expect 80% pink when you make this cross. Okay, I heard everything. That concludes everything, really. Now we hide the bee to make the cross. How about that? Okay, the bee's job done. Go home, take a break. Let's see what's the baby. Half and half, so everybody's right. So everybody's a winner. Okay, introducer. Another reason that today I put my tie on, because I really represent 8 companies, 12 rose breeders to talk today. So for respect, I tied up. This company that I'm going to talk about, David Austin, Rose by Ping, Marin, Star Rose, and Codus, Tesla, is that Tesla, and Easy Arrogant, and the most nobody know yet. This today first release. Purple Winter. They will come to our rose market. Very new, actually last year they already launching Easy, also Easy. And this year they're launching also Happy. And the most of all, nobody know about this company yet, this series of roses. Today you are the first consumer to know. Easy Care Rose. That's my rose. That's the brand name. You will see that in the part will be Carry Easy Care by Altman Nursery. So welcome everybody. And actually my company in Southern California, nearby northern San Diego, Altman Nursery in Vista. Vista is about 1.5 hours from LAX, south. And last year we have an open house. Actually, the American Rose Society have the meeting in San Diego area. They come to our field. That is our first big visitor. 3 buses. They come to my tiny greenhouse and all fill up my nursery with that 3 buses, about 100-something people. Anybody know anybody here? Yeah. And seriously, I see a lady write out everything I write. I don't know for what. Here, my friend. In general, when I visit the people's nursery, I like to take a photo by courtesy. But this guy come to visit me, he never take a picture with me. So that's what I said. If we have the enemy like this, who need another friend? And Keith, Zeri, and Debbie also come to visit us, and that is our testing field in Vista. And this area that you can see ocean, you can see Pacific. So every morning that I there, I can see the ocean. And every state have a flower that represent their state. So American is really make up the flower of the state. But most of all, roses is our national flower. I ask, why rose is our national flower? Why rose that significant to become a national flower? And many countries using rose as their national flower. Who can share that thought? Why rose becomes so significant? Beautiful. I heard beautiful. Fragrant. Everybody loves it. Grow everywhere. How about story? More story. Historical significance. Old plant. A lot of god named after roses. Flora is one of the gods. Peace rose getting popular. And rose bloom all the time. And rose have thorn. Really, when I think about this rose, why it's so significant in our culture, in our society, in our world. When you travel every place in the world, very easy, you can locate the garden called rose garden. You will not see azalea garden, carnation garden, dahlia garden, because those varieties bloom only once in the season. Rose perform year-round. And a lot of love story. The war stopped because Josephine have a rose from China. They have war with England. The England allowed to stop the war to deliver the rose to Josephine. Rose that did stop the war. So rose that means peace and love. So I named this rose actually love and peace. That's the story. Here, rose for peace. You know what? This picture is taken from internet. Why I thought that is significant, like to share with everybody. That really, this is picture taken from where? Everybody know? Thailand, Thai. Recently, Thai have a lot of problems. So the people don't feel they have enough liberal, they have enough right for their society. So they want to protest, but the government try to put force onto it, even put the bar into. But the lady will give rose to the policeman. Stop doing that. So that really represent rose can carry some essential, sentimental in our life, rose. When we marry, we like to have roses. Without rose, the wedding not look like wedding party. And when you die, you bury with roses. A lot of rose that today we see that 100 years old rose. That rose actually discovered in the graveyard because that rose significant in their life in our society. So rose can be a national flower, can be the flower of the world. David Austin. I met David Austin maybe when I start doing rose breeding, that in the 80s, when I visit him, that is young pink. And that is David Austin. And very interesting, that gentleman. And he's English, but he's not arrogant at all. The reason I say that, we have a conference in UK back about 15, 20 years ago, and we talked about, and he was surrounded. He's so popular that 10, 15 years ago, I guess. And people keep surround, ask questions. And then pretty soon, he approached me. He said, Ping, my name is David Austin. I said, wow, David Austin, my name is Ping. So that is what I feel very and then I have a chance to visit him a few times, and every time that I conclude a statement for David Austin is, fragrance is not an option. And I told Mr. Austin, said, disease resistance is not my option. And all his roses fragrant. And he is one of the largest rose breeder in the world back 5 years ago already. And we do 300,000 seeds, 30 to 40,000 cross, and he do 10,000, 30,000, 100,000 cross, 100,000 seedling that from David Austin. Nobody can reach him. I asked him, why you do that much? He said, now my rose have fragrance, but I want my rose have no disease. That is the reason he significantly work on. And he also worked into cut flower, fragrant cut flower with English style. And everybody know cut rose not carry fragrance. The reason cannot carry fragrance because the fragrance will build up the oxidant gas in the bark. The rose will not last long, so it have the shorter shelf life for the market. That is the reason the cut rose don't have fragrance. And David Austin, he don't believe that. He said, I'm coming with a rose that's strong enough can sell in the market. And he gave me, one thing. Because these are new rose for next year, I write to every rose breeder. I said, I'm going to make a presentation for a Rose Society in San Rafael, and I want to talk about your new rose. They are so happy that they have a chance to get the free publication, and immediately they just sent me the picture. And then, I feel very honored that I represent a big group of roses that people will respect that. So I can talk their rose with very easy way to get the information from them. And Marin is one of the very fragrant. No, I should not say fragrant because already fragrant. But you see the prolific and also repeat blooming. Chris just mentioned if the rose that only bloom one time and last flower in the second season, nobody really want it. Even the rose introducer, the agent, they don't want to see that. So the rose have to constantly bloom. And David Austin worked on that area as well. And this is a very nice one too. You see the petals? In general, in English rose have more than 80 petals. And sometimes you can go up to 110 petals. And that petal built up the fragrance. So, and he gave me four varieties with different color that we'll introduce in next year in David Austin. They have a website. I think they're headquartered in United States in Texas. You can buy from their website. Denver, this one. And this is another red. Thomas Bacon. Certified rose in the headquarters is a mail order company, headquartered in Texas, Tyler, and just bought by Wolf Rose Company in Arizona. So I go visit this company that they grow all their roses, and they also grow some of our roses as well. That is a Leighton Wolf, and he was a lawyer. And now his son, Matt, is taking over the business pretty soon. So we went to the rose field and he shared some good rose with me. Oh, and I just talked about Chris Warner. This is one of the Chris Warner's variety. And Chris Warner is one of the earlier work on the Persica Eutermia roses that is getting popular, more and more popular in state right now. And this is one of his rose called Raspberry Kiss. When I talked to him that I said, Chris, you have one new rose called Raspberry Kiss. I saw in France last year. It's called Peace and Love. What's going on? Why are you using my rose name and reverse it? He said, not me, French people. And if you guys have visited Huntington Rose Garden, and this rose was planted in Huntington a couple years ago, and actually this is a knockout seedling, but it's bigger, flower is bigger, color is brighter, and grows dwarfer than knockout. This have a high potential, but still single though, still single. Here is the breeder. That's the breeder I have not met yet. Robert Nell Ripetos. Do you know him?
Yep.
Oh.
He's part of the Palm Spring area breeder club.
Yeah. Okay. So that's quite exciting. Miracle on the Hudson. That is a 911, one of the 911. So certified have two varieties, and Star Rose have quite a few. Star Rose have very tight link with Marin, and right now one of the variety that makes Star Rose getting stronger and stronger is a knockout, and that's the president of Star Rose, Steve Hutton, and that is Marin. That is Alan Marin, and this Alan's son is a little bit taller than me. So we have a good time in German in ADR, that rose garden never spray, and we see some good stuff out there.
Do you spray?
Oh, spray what?
Roses.
Spray water, chemicals. We do spray for insects like spider mites and thrips and worm, but not fungicide. We're using insecticide, soap, and water. Okay. So when you said, do you spray?
Spray for golfers?
You know what? Gopher, you not have to spray. Actually, if you treat your garden right, the gopher will not get closer. If I have time, I would like to talk to you guys a little bit about how to avoid gopher by just planting without using any trap or anything, but not today. Okay, best kept secret. The fragrant, this is a very fragrant rose, and they said strong citrusy. I think it's 1S more. Is it? So, because John said, if you want to send me the revised version, you have to put B01, B02. I already have him B03. If I give him this one and changing 1S, and he might get mad. Okay, this is interesting. This looks like apple blossom. And Marin actually come out with a series called Look-alike series. So you will see more and more look-alike in the future from Marin. And this is Bill Raders. It a little bit look like knockout with one more ring of petals, but it's pink. And this is very resistant called Peking. Peachy. My English never getting better. But you guys now learn more my English. They said, Ping, you not speak English, you speak Pinglish. This is a cute one. And this one won last week, won a Rose Hill Award, one of the best. I think this it might compete with Iceberg, and it looks much denser, much more impact than Iceberg. And this is the the work between Bill Rudder and Marin. Ice Cape. This picture is taken in Rose Hill a couple weeks ago. I was judging this rose. I give this one rose is #1 rose of the year in Rose Hill, and it won. And Chris is also a judge in Rose Hill as well. So, yes,
What is that, lavender?
it's a shrub. Yeah, shrub actually is a shrub, can be Floribunda shrub. Okay, this is another interesting rose as well, and is a see. If you look at this now, you not only need to know the rose name now, you have to know what this rose belong to, what class, belong to what group, belong to what collection. So get more and more complicated because of marketing way. So this is a Romantica. So all the Romantica rose are simply David Austin on French version. And that is a breeder, Jack Mochot. And New Flora is the agent of Kodas Rose in United States. They are headquartered in Oregon, nearby Medford. I visited them because of this talk. And I met, he's passed away, but many years ago I visited. He really come to the hotel and picked me up and to show me all day in his research and rose field and take me back to the hotel with dinner. So remember that moment. So now Kodas also come out with the 8 different collection. Is that confusing? When I read this, I already get confused. For instance, the first one, Arbor Rose collection. Arbor mean what? Tree. And actually it's called hybrid tea. Actually over there they call, they mean hybrid tea rose. Oh no, I'm sorry. They call tree rose. And see, I get confused already. This Aragonza is hybrid tea. This fairy tale is a mini kind of shrub, fairy type of fairy rose. And coralscape is landscape. Perfuma is a assembly David Austin, assembly romantica. And Sunbell, because some of their rose doing well in California, in the Sunbell area. So they make a heat tolerant, hot tolerant variety called Sunbell. And Verena rose that actually the form, the form itself look like David Austin form, but without fragrance. So if they are fragrant, they will come to this collection. And vigor rose are, that means the rose that grow very vigor by their own root. And this one is a Dark Desire, is one of the fragrant roses for next year introduction. And interesting thing, all his rose fragrant, he will have this logo on their catalog. And interesting, they study very clearly about the fragrance on a rose. How many fragrant a rose can be? Up to 10 different kind of smell. Can you tell? So, like this rose generium, I don't know what is that really. And classic rose, lemon and earthy. And this you have to study chemist to understand this really. But honey we know. Elderflower, what smell of elder? Yeah. So the fragrance from this rose is like this. And some of their yellow collection for next year. Sweet Jane. My wife's name Jane. Actually, I have named a rose called Sweet Jane. And she said she don't like that rose. Black spot. This is very resistant to black spot. And this is a hybrid tea actually, but cluster. Desma tutu, sunbell, that's growing well in California. You see the individual flower? I saw very good fragrant, black spot disease, and that's hybrid tea. And that is the flower individual. This is another two of the be a judge. Okay, this is another very interesting rose that I want to point out. Summer romance, and is belong to fragrant series. In general, the fragrant rose that David Austin, and he know that most fragrant rose get disease so easy, special mildew and black spot. And this rose not have black spot, oops, but fragrance. So without black spot and fragrant, this is the roses. And this is sunbell, another sunbell, Savannah, and also fragrance, no mildew, no black spot. Roxanne, thank you. Banana rose, that is assembly English type. And this is interesting, it is a small 2x2 compact, you can grow in patios. And this is more multiple color. You can see one color changing to start with this orange and to yellow. Floribunda, Rose of Hope. And won the award from French Crystal Rose Tribe this year in New Orleans. Plum Perfect and Sunbell Rose also. This is one of the heat mentioned in their catalog, heat and humidity tolerant. They can perform well in the heat and in high humidity and no black spot. So everybody now know the disease resistance really it become a must in the rose breeding. Cora sent me about 12 varieties for next year's introduction. First Crush, also very fragrant rose. See that side? Pie Opa. This is a landscape rose. You can see that black spot and no black spot, no mildew shrub rose. And that is awesome. And bloom prolific. Fuji. This is a hybrid tea rose. Without black spot, without mildew. Another one from success from Codas. Very, very strong competitor in rose world, Codas. Tesla. Tesla well known with flower carpet. Tesla, they bring flower carpet in United States since 1990. And then I have a chance to visit him. He's from Melbourne. So I went to South to visit Melbourne. Very interesting, this city is also very drought, very, how to say that, the water very limited. The government said you cannot wash the car in your house because of the no water. So Mr. Anthony Tesla set up the rose garden, no irrigation year round, only water by God. So I have sent him some variety. One is a peach Bayard, and it's never water, never spray, and growing beautifully. And 20 years ago, 1990 actually, they bringing this flower carpet to United States, and with very keen, different marketing approach. This role charging royalty and marketing fee for $2. They're using $1 just to marketing. You know what? Today, 20 years later, how many plants this flower carpet been sold? Anybody have an idea? 80 million. Flower carpet. Flower carpet, people complain about flower carpet don't have rose form, but it flower, it have no black spot, it grow like weed out in the field. Yeah, one fall actually flower carpet they want to overcome is too late of blooming. A lot of roses that bloom in May, June. This one bloom in June, mid-June to late June. But they have the better one improved. And this is the breeder, the original breeder, Dr. Noack. And after he created the flower carpet, he retired. He went to Casablanca. And this is the new rose from flower carpet called flower carpet pink splash. Magnolia is handled this variety. What the tester said, no guessing, no worrying, no killing. That is a flower carpet. Have you seen this one? Brand new to the market. That is a breed from a Dutch breeder called Peter Elsing. I visit Peter Elsing 2006, and I see one of the yellow one they work. Actually, in that time, he worked on the wave rose. That the rose looked like Dahlia, the rose looked like Carnation, but that series not seem to be doing well. But the sweet spot getting more and more popular. And this year, actually, they start launching this sweet spot. Next year, there will be more variety coming out. That is a Peter Elsing. And look like this rose, look like pansy, look like poppy, look like what? It not look like rose at all. It's so cute. It performs so well in the pot, and it tolerant to zone 5. That means below 40, below 20, below 40. I'm sorry, below 40, below 50. They can grow outdoor that way. So right now they have 4 varieties coming to the market with these 4 different kind of color. Next year will be more. And right now they have more than 100 seedlings that testing in different states in United States. That's beautiful. And Eutermia is their parent actually. And Eutermia is a desert rose. The leaf not look like rose. They only have 2 leaves instead of we have 7 leaves. And it's very tolerant to desert kind of climate, like in the Western China, like Afghanistan, Turkey area. And here is their future introduction. And you can buy this rose. I asked Anthony, I said, Tester, where can my friend can buy this rose? He said, good garden center. You have to go to the good garden center, not just garden center. What does that mean? Expensive. Proven winner. Proven winner is have come out with a lot of annual, perennial breeding line, and now they get involved in roses. And then they first start involved with Chris Warner with called also OS, also easy. Now they come out with the rose called, not later on, I will talk later. And this is one of their hybrid tea, and also the breeder is from England, and he is the breeder of cocktail champagne cocktail. Yeah, that's a variety. And he's Colin Horner. That's him. And his wife Heather also breed rose. 2 of them breed rose together. He passed away maybe 5-6 years ago. Now Heather carrying the work. When I visit England, they take me to the very nice Carnation restaurant. See the Carnation in the center. However, they are doing also work very hard on the black spot disease resistance. So this variety, interesting, is Japanese beetle disease resistant. I thought Japanese beetle will eat everything. Bado, where's Bado?
Right here. I would be very surprised if he doesn't eat it.
That's right. I think so. If only one. You know, one thing I believe, if this rose plant among 1,000 of roses around it, the Japanese beetle might not get to him. Okay, also, OSO happy. This is a collection bred by one of my friends too. David, how to read this? How to say that? Slaysack. Okay. So he come out with a collection of this like fairy type of roses. And he also breed one of the roses that the climber, repeat blooming, and with cold hardened to zone 3. I will show you later. So all this is a proven winner called proven hardy. It is. It's very true. That is extremely free flower, disease resistant. And David is a professor of Wisconsin University, and he is very keen on rose breeding and other flower breeding as well. And see, I like to see this strong leaf bloomer. So a lot of fairy rose bloom heavily in the spring, and then a few bloom in later. But this variety that claim to be very strong repeat bloomer. And look at this guy, thunders. That is interesting. And that is shrub with thunders that people will like it. Not only provide the color, and also you can get closer to the shrub. Continue blooming. Now, easy elegant roses. I have 2 more minutes to talk about easy elegant rose. Okay, what is easy elegant rose? That I bred is called the rose should be there for you, not the other way around. That's called easy elegant rose. All plants should be easy to grow. Actually, it's the theme of the easy elegant. And we, only one company in the world can say, I guarantee you 2 years, if this rose dies, you take back, I return you the money. Easy elegant. This year, they only, this year, we got this Corocorp one Portland best for the shrub roses. So I just want to share to everybody. It's a very low growth shrub with bicolor or tricolor, you can say that. And only 10, 15 petals, but prolific. And this is the new rose we'll introduce in next year called Screaming Neon Red. That means, I didn't name that one, but when the people see this rose, they're screaming, that's what. And this is the David Serasax rose, and this is a climber. A lot of species in this background, and is a big flower. Oh, and he called Above and Beyond, and Chris Warner have one called All, Above All, and this one Beyond It. Okay, this is one of my hybrid tea, velvety hybrid tea shrub. Actually, it's a shrub rose, but every bloom like hybrid tea. That is my theme, my mission, and my dream to looking for a rose can grow as a shrub, but with the hybrid tea flower, with fragrance, obviously. And this heart is zone 5, and this music box is a very interesting, only about 2.5 to 3 inches flower, but every flower perfectly hybrid tea, very nice. And this is a shrub Floribunda, not shrub hybrid tea, shrub Floribunda, very clean. Until now, I didn't hear any report on disease at all. Music Park, I named that one too. And this Como Park, this one of zone 4, that means below 30 and still blooming without protection and own root, growing so well. And now, Easy Care will be available next year. Rose by Pink. Flying Kiss is a climber, repeat blooming, prolific, and fragrant without disease. Magenta, 40 petals. Fragrant climber. Rugose is one of the shrub hybrid tea and fragrant shrub hybrid tea form. And another actually is a bigger flower bundle, or you can say hybrid tea, but have more cluster into it, called Formosa. You know Formosa? Taiwan. The place I'm from, I call this rose called Formosa. Highly disease-resistant, compact, multiple bloom, beautifully, and about 50 petals. Green world is our future, Uncle Sam said. The world is our garden. It's not just a dream, it's a mission for beauty, friendship, love, and peace. Thank you. 10:32, I make it.
Okay, so we'll take some question. You wanna?
Mother is first. Oh, mother first. All the time.
You know, it's like when you go somewhere, you always open the door to the lady, so the lady goes first. That's the same principle in breeding. Breeding.
No surprise. There is the words of mother.
Yeah. Yeah. It's always female first. Yep.
What was the question?
The question was, when you see the parentage, who's the first, the mom or the dad? So like I say, we always open the door and let the ladies first. So that's the rule also in breeding. Always ladies first. More question?
Good.
Oh, that was easy. Thank you.